Hello, everybody. My name is Rapskilian, and welcome yourselves back to another episode of For the Content Podcast. Special episode. Recording this on Friday the 13th, and this is episode number 13th. And we're joined by my co-host, Colesy the Pumpkin Shaking Head.
Hello, I've got pumpkins on my head. If you're not watching the video podcast, you really should watch the video podcast.
Yeah, you're really missing out this episode. You're really missing out this episode.
We've dressed up and everything. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. So Colesy put a lot of effort into his Halloween costume.
I tried. You say that. I already had this, so it was okay.
Yeah, okay. So I ordered something from the UK, and on the website, it was like, oh, delivery time is estimated 2 to 3 days, right? I thought, okay, if I order it on Monday, it should be here before Friday, so we can get things recorded and, Halloween stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just got an email yesterday saying, like, your estimated delivery time is 1 day to 4 weeks.
Oh, that's a bit of a big gap there.
That's a huge gap. I can't hear anything properly through this fucking...
Okay, you can remove it if you would prefer. Yeah, just do that. Yeah, just put it on. Yes, there we go. Now it's like you're not even wearing headphones.
No, I'm just like oh man, I'm doing this weird thing where I'm trying to do a mirrored camera view and try to adjust stuff, and it makes me look like I'm dumb.
You always go for the wrong side to adjust.
You go for the wrong side. You're like, why does that work? And my brain doesn't understand this.
Yes. So
how you been, Colesy?
I am good. I am excited for today's podcast because I bloody love Halloween. I love a spooky thing. It's my favourite. It's my favourite time of year, I'd say, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the weather's sort of not hot. It's nice and cool, but not too cold. There's spooky things going on. We can watch horror films. It's brilliant.
No, it is a very nice family-friendly holiday. You could say that.
Apart from all the murder films and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Take your underage kids to watch a murder film,
mm-hmm.
Horror film, and then just be like, kids, it's the Halloween season.
It is.
I want to cover this part up now. I want to be completely. I bought this in Japan in Tokyo Disneyland.
Oh well, there you go.
The first time I went to Tokyo Disneyland, it was nice.
All right, showing off, mate.
Yeah, showing off.
The first time I went to Disneyland in Tokyo. I want to ask you.
Yes.
Are you a believer in ghosts and spirits and demons and spook things?
Not. So when I was young.
Uh-huh.
Again, everyone's like, oh, here comes the trauma.
Yeah, here we go.
When I was young, there was a few things that happened in my life which would make me say yes. But as I've grown older and I've become more, knowledge in the world when it comes to science and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, maybe there isn't. But also, I can't explain some of these things that happened to me as a kid.
Uh-huh.
Do you ever heard about sleep paralysis?
Yeah, that's it. I've never had it. It sounds terrifying.
So when I was a kid, my mom and my dad and my brother we went to visit a family friend of ours. And my mom was sleeping next to my dad, and she said she heard someone knock on the door. And it was the middle of the night, pitch black, nobody's there. Supposed to be knocking on doors, and she hears a person knocking on the door, and the door opens, and she cannot move her whole body.
Right, yeah.
And she felt pressure on the blankets, going steps, until she felt pressure on her chest.
Uh-huh.
And then she was like, oh shit, she cannot scream, someone's holding her mouth shut. And then she just somehow broke free and she punched my dad.
Nice.
And then she told us that happened, and we're like, okay, that's freaky. And we were supposed to stay one more night there. And that night, when I was sleeping, when you wake up middle of the night at random times, you don't know why you woke up, so you're just groggy and you go back to sleep.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I woke up fully aware, fully awake, aware of all my senses, and I swear to God, there was someone standing at the door. I saw a figure standing at the door, and I was like,
"It's pretty creepy."
I was like, I turned on the light. No one there.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Your mum's experience is sort of like a classic sleep paralysis. They always say you feel pressure, you feel held down, and all this stuff. I've never had it. It does sound absolutely terrifying, but
it is.
There is potentially an explanation to that. Personally, myself, being the one dressed up like an insane man, I do believe in the ghosts and spirits and stuff. Or, I mean, I don't want to sound absolutely crazy, but I think I'm more open to it, and I like the idea of it, so I sort of more believe in it.
Well, the thing is, I'm not saying that you can't say with absolute certainty that they don't exist. It's like saying with absolute certainty that we're the only intelligent life in the universe. It's impossible.
Well, I think in that case, there's definitely got to be something else out there, right? Surely. Just that probability.
If you want to hear an absolute horror story, just picture, just take for a moment and realize how small you are in the grand scheme of how big the universe is. Like, to the universe, you are not even a blood cell. You are an atom.
You are nothing.
You are your life, your existence, your happiness, your dreams, your thoughts, your wants, your needs. All those are just a passing microsecond in what the grand scheme is of the universe. That is terrifying. That scares me.
Yeah, it is. That what's the word? Existential dread. That's what I was trying to say.
Exactly. I'm not even going to try to say that because I'm dyslexic.
It's a difficult word, it turns out. It's early in the morning to be saying things like that. It's ridiculous.
I remember watching a video on Facebook where, I don't know if you see it before, where they zoom out from a woman sitting on a park bench or something like that. And they keep going out like to show how to scale the universe is.
Yeah, I mean, one singular person is so insignificant. This is so depressing.
Yeah, like when I saw that video, I was like, my chest got tighter and tighter. And I was like, I need to do something important.
It's pretty terrifying. But
yeah,
I mean,
that's terrifying.
There's so much like unknown. I think that's why I like believing ghosts and stuff. I love watching all these like ghost hunting TV shows and stuff because I would love to do that. I would absolutely love to. I mean, I'd be terrified, but I'd love to do it.
We should totally, when I ever come to the UK, we should go to a haunted house. Not like a pre-built haunted house where people are like, where's your guy in a costume? Like, oh, this house is haunted. Like, okay,
we're going to like an insane asylum that's dilapidated and falling down.
Oh, what's that show called again? It used to be on British TV. Paranormal something, right? Where they had like this.
Which one do you want? Because there's Most Haunted. That was a good one.
Most Haunted with the guy with the psycho with the guy, not psycho, but the guy was like, I can hear the ghosts and
Derek Acora, the medium. Yes, he is. He is a character, mate.
That brings chills down my spine because I haven't heard that name in such a long time. That is nostalgia, my friend.
I remember watching Most Haunted like as a kid, like as a young, I don't know how old I was, but like all through my like childhood and my teens and stuff with like my mum, and we'd watch it because my mum's into that, and I'm like, it used to scare me. It genuinely did because I'm like, oh my god, there's a ghost in here. And the presenter woman was absolutely terrified every time.
Yeah, she was terrified, man. She didn't like her job.
It's so good. It's such good entertainment. Derek Acora, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I'm not entirely sure I believe in mediums. I think that might be a little bit bullshit.
Yeah.
But he was entertaining when he'd be like, good. I'm possessed. And you're like, what is going on?
They really did a good job. Like, oh, did you see the ghost? Like, where? The little dot going on the screen.
Yeah, there's an orb there.
It's an orb.
Yeah.
And now, as someone that has like worked on cameras for a long time, I'm like, no, that's just dust.
Yeah. So I've watched a few of like the newest seasons. I don't know if they're still making it, to be honest.
Oh, shit.
Like,
okay.
In the old ones, it was always like, oh, you see, there's an orb, and they'd point out orbs non-stop. In the new ones, never mention it, and I'm like, oh, you figured out it's nothing, then, haven't you? You just don't want to say. It's just so funny.
I remember when they did the the live shows.
Yeah, they did a few of those. Yeah.
So like when we were watching that, because we had Sky TV here in Switzerland, when we're not allowed to have Sky TV. We paid a guy in the UK to buy and subscribe to Sky Satellite's subscription fee.
Yeah.
And then he sent us the TV box and the SIM card, and like the little card you put into the TV box to unlock the channels.
God, that sounds complicated.
And then he sent us a satellite dish, and we had to like perfectly align it. Satellite. Yeah. If you ever set up a satellite, you hate it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they.
And then my father was always like, "Don't use any of the on TV apps for anything. If you charge anything, they will find out, and we will lose everything.
They will find us.
Find us." And I was like, "Oh, it's so cool." Like you could record TV shows back then, man. Oh, it was. And then we went. Me and my mom. Like just like you, me and my mom would used to watch Most Haunted, like religiously. And at some point, my mom was like, even like, "I think you might be a medium, Rapskilian. I want to send you to the UK to a special school to do like medium training." And I'm like, "I'm Harry Potter." It was really cool, but yeah, that was one of my favorite TV shows and like horror shows when I used to watch.
It's so good, and I would love to do that. If someone came to me and said like, forget the video games, mate. You're not playing video games on YouTube anymore. But if you want to do a ghost channel, I'd be like, oh yes, I would love to do that. I mean, it sounds terrifying but fun.
Like like really scary places to go, like actual scary places to go. Everyone's like, "Oh, a really old derelict hotel, a sign in Salem, blah, 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 an old prison that's been abandoned." No. Las Vegas, the under, like, the tunnels for where the water flows, the drainage pipes.
Right, yeah.
Because in America, everything's huge. They don't build small.
They do like it big over there, yeah.
So there's like these huge, GTA 5 when you drive on the aqueduct things.
Oh yeah, the storm drain thing.
Storm drains, right? And you can drive into the tunnels. So they have those tunnels sprawled underneath the whole city.
Oh.
And going underneath there is absolutely terrifying because people live down there.
Ooh,
and that's weird shit happens. Like weird things happen. Like weird people. Like people go crazy down there because like they don't see the sunlight anymore, and they're just like.
God, mole people, real life mole people.
Yeah, real mole people. And I watched this documentary of a guy. He walked down there with a camera, just himself, with like a camera and a light, and like he would hear like people running around, and he's like, and then he came up to this one guy, like sitting there in this really nice casino employee suit,
right?
And he's like, "What are you doing down here?" He's like, "Oh, I live here." He's like, "What?" He's like, "Oh, I can't afford rent anywhere in Las Vegas with my pay. So I work in one of the big casinos, and I just live down here in the storm drains." And I was like,
"That's mad."
Oh, what?
I was watching a video yesterday, and it was some guy who was, I think he was presenting some sort of awards or something in America. Okay. He's from the UK. So he was in, I think he was in Seattle, and he told a story about homeless people that like blew my mind. He was like, there's a lot of, it's the same sort of situation. It's so expensive to live in the city that people end up having to be homeless, even though they technically come from like a rich family or something. But because they can't afford to live there, they end up homeless. But he said he walked down a street and he saw two homeless people like in this alleyway. And then he noticed that they both had laptops. And I was like, what? And they were playing like League of Legends. And I was like, that never occurred to me that like you'd be homeless but have a laptop. That seems like such a luxury. Maybe a phone. I'd understand nowadays if they had a phone. Everyone has a phone, you know.
Yeah, but like, it doesn't have to be that expensive.
A laptop's a bit...
No, you're homeless. Give me the laptop. Take it away.
Where do you store it? How do you charge? Well, I guess you charge it at like a coffee shop or something.
Yeah, you just ask your mate to bend over.
How do you not like get it stolen? I don't understand.
Just be the most craziest motherfucker out on the street.
Okay. Okay. I'll bear that in mind if I
play
ever
League
become
as a homeless
homeless
person.
Yeah. I mean, they're playing League of Legends anyway, so they're pretty
crazy.
insane.
Yeah. There's some pretty creepy places around the world, like
Paris has got the catacombs.
Oh, I really want to go see that. By the way, I really want to. It's a morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
I mean, also going to places like Auschwitz is also a very morbid thing, isn't it, though?
Have you been?
No, I haven't been.
My dad and my sister went because my dad, he's interested in like war stuff and just that kind of history. They went and they said it's eerily quiet, is what they said. Like, there's
Everyone
not
has
even
to be respectful.
Like, yeah, but like birds don't fly there. It's really weird, apparently, but
yeah,
it's one of those things. It would be interesting,
man. It's like one of those things. Like, I guess when you go there, unless you are, I think if you're a Jewish person, a Jewish heritage, and you go there, I understand it completely.
Yeah,
it's like
it's horrible.
It makes sense. It makes sense to make you like really drive through, or someone that's trying to understand why the atrocities of World War II was so bad. Yes, go there. But me, there's no reason for me to go there.
Well, I mean, you're just interested in it. It's just historical.
Yeah, but like, I know the atrocities. I understand the atrocities, but I don't think I should be going there because I think it's kind of disrespectful.
I don't think it's disrespectful. I mean, because you'd be respectful when you were there. It's not like you'd go and you'd be like, selfie.
I'm a YouTuber. What do you think?
Yeah, okay, but you're not flipping Logan Paul, who's found in dead bodies everywhere.
Oh yeah, talk about Logan Paul. Have you ever watched a video on the suicide forest?
Yes, I think I've probably seen a few.
That's
interesting.
Hugely terrifying. Like, the reason why many people go there is because it's so disorientating.
Yeah, you get sort of lost.
Because of how the forest is like structured, like how it grew, and also because of the magnetic fields in the earth. It fucks with
that sounds like conspiracy theory, but okay.
No, because I watched a video on it from Vice, and they're like, "Oh, the reason people get confused and lost so easily in the forest here is because of the they come with the Mount Fuji, whatever. The magnetic fields in the floor cause you to feel disoriented sometimes."
Right. Okay. I mean, they reckon that's partly what like when you're in a haunted house and they feel something. It's something to do with like. I can't remember whether it's like a sound wave or something that is you can't hear it, but it affects you physically and makes you feel weird, which is why people get dizzy. Also, your fight and flight
system goes full blown.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because your body's like, I don't know if it's something that's gonna kill me.
I mean, I have that like if I go downstairs at night and then you walk back up and you go, oh, something's following me, and you just run for no reason.
I hate that. I hate that so much. When I was a kid, my mom used to tell me, go throw out the garbage. And we lived in an apartment complex, and it was at night, obviously. So when I went down, I stand at the door and I looked at the garbage bin, and the garbage bin is like right just across the road. Yeah. And it's pitch black. There's no streetlights. I'm like, okay, you could do this. You could do and I just book it.
Exactly. It's so weird. Anyway, Suicide Forest. Carry on.
Suicide Forest. So like, apparently if you go there, you have to be very careful where you walk because you can get so easily disoriented and so easily lost. And there's this one guy that works there. His job is to go find people that have expired. So like he always like see if someone parks a car, if that car is there too long, he gets suspicious and he goes out there. And he always takes little red ropes or like blue color ropes, and he ties it against the trees, and he uses that to lead them back to the entrance, to the exit.
Yeah.
And like, so you like when you go there, you'll see all these little lines going back and forth, and it's just like, like when Logan Paul went there, he should have known that was going to happen, and he knew it probably was going to happen. He's going to find somebody. Because the possibilities are so high, you're gonna find somebody there.
I think I remembered, but just before you said about the rope, I was like, I seem to remember that they do leave these paths so that they can find their way out and stuff. But isn't it not like the sort of Japanese culture and stuff that leads a lot of these people to feel like what's
abandoned?
The word? Yeah, sort of like, but they feel like it's dishonorable to
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't know about that, but the thing is just like a lot of people just don't want to bother the family.
Exactly. Yeah, but okay. You should just bother anyone if Jesus Christ.
Mean, like with the whole finding the body thing, so they just like do it in the forest.
It's really horrible. And
it's really horrible.
Job is to go and like get all the
it's not
bodies.
his job. It's not his job.
Well, I mean, he does it
volunteer. He does it volunteer.
Oh, so it's worse. He does it for free.
Yeah, I mean, that's fucking honorable, man.
Yeah. On a lighter note, would you like me to tell you a few of the spooky experiences I've had?
Yeah, I want to hear Colesy's non-traumatic stories.
No, they're not. They're not actually traumatic. It's fine. When I was a teenager, we lived on a farm. My dad was the manager of this farm, and so we lived on site. Okay. So that he could deal with, like lorries coming in and stuff, delivering food and whatever to the animals. So when we moved in, we were told that this farm was haunted. Right? And it's not, it's not, it wasn't, here's the thing. It was never like said, it's haunted in like, oh, it's really messed up shit's going to happen. It was like, look, sometimes weird stuff happens. It's a bit of an old area, it's around where there was probably like RAF bases and, back in the days, there was probably some plane crashes and stuff around there. So potentially, if you believe in that, could be a few dead people that ended up around there, little haunting. Anyway, so, it was never said to be like scary. Well, I mean, other than the fact that it's a ghost, but like the ghost itself was supposedly nice.
Okay.
So we lived there and... Well, sometimes apparently they're nice. We lived there for like a bunch of years. Okay. And I did end up working on the farm because my dad worked there, so I got an easy weekend job that I could do, and I lived on site, so it was super easy for me to get there.
Good job.
Yeah. But what would happen a lot to a lot of people, and I had this myself a few times, is you would go into like one of the big sheds that had the turkeys in, which is what we were growing.
Those are scary.
No, turkeys are fine. So what? Were you scared of turkeys?
I had it. Okay, I'll tell you this afterwards, but
okay.
I have a story afterwards for fucking turkeys.
Okay, cool. Right, well, when you come to the UK, we'll fix that as well. Anyway, so you'd go in there and you'd be working, you'd be doing whatever you needed to do.
Yeah.
And occasionally you'd hear somebody shout your name, and you weren't the only person on like the site. There'd be like a couple of people that worked on the farm. Okay. So you'd hear like Adam, and I'd be like, oh, someone needs me for something. So I'd go out, I'd open the door to the outside, and I'd look around, and no one's there. And that would happen so often to so many different people that you would, clear as day, hear someone shouting your name, and it doesn't go into your head that you think, oh, it's a spooky thing. You automatically just think,
oh, someone's calling me.
Yeah, exactly. Someone wants me for something. But every time you go out there, nobody there. And there'd be like the other end of the farm, like far away. And you'd be like, that's really weird. And that happened so many times over like the years. It wasn't super regular, but it was just so weird when it would happen. Another story, not my story, but it was a lorry driver who he slept in his lorry on the farm because they're only allowed to drive a certain amount of hours a day.
Yeah.
So he got to the farm and then he was like, right, I'm going to sleep here tonight. I'm going to sleep in my cab. Because they've got, they got really nice cabs in there, mate. They've got like TVs and beds and everything. They're like
everything
sorted.
There.
Exactly.
Yes.
If there's an apocalypse, he's like, that's all right. I've got my like living
I've got
cab.
my lorries.
Exactly. So he parked up on the farm and he's like, yep, I'll sleep here tonight. It's fine. It happened fairly often with the lorry drivers.
Yeah.
And then the next day, my dad went out to speak to him, and he's like, "That was the worst night's sleep I've ever had." Right? And my dad's like, "Oh, why? What happened, or what was going on?" And he said, just multiple times through the night, it would sound like somebody's running alongside the back of the lorry, just banging on it as they're running along, and like the way the like place. Where the farm was, it was just in the middle of the country. There's no houses around. We were the only house for like half a mile.
Oh, okay.
So there's no chance it was like kids, crazy youths. So, I mean, it's just really weird. And this guy was actually like really terrified.
Oh man, yeah, I would be terrified too.
I know, but like, I don't know. And a couple of people saw somebody on the farm that was like not there, and they'd be like, "Oh, well, the guy down there at the end," and my dad would be like, "There's nobody else here." Like, and
your dad's like, "I'm fucking loving this. There's nobody there."
Yeah,
actually, someone was there, and it was just like, "I'm fucking with this guy. I don't like him."
My dad's had a few like creepy experiences, like ghosty ones. Wow, you can never be sure that they're ghosties. Yeah. But like, I think he was sort of used to it and like fine with it. So when somebody be like, "Oh, there's a guy down the end," and he's like, "No, I'm the only person here, and there's no way that anyone could get onto the site without coming through here. So there isn't anyone." Then they'd be like, "No, there definitely was," and he's like, "Nah, there isn't, mate." So ooh, awkward.
Ooh, you saw the ghost. Yeah. I love that. Farm apparitions, very great.
There was also sometimes, things would move, as in like you'd put something down, it wouldn't be where it was. You'd hear something
I never had that happen to me.
I remember there was a workshop, and like I was like washing something up in like the sink in the workshop or something, and then I left, and then I heard like a clattering and like a screwdriver just like on the floor the other side of the room, and I'm like, I don't know how that got there. I don't know where that was, but it's not where it's just on the floor.
It's just on the floor now.
That was probably the scariest thing that happened, because I'm going, I don't want to go back in there. I don't know what's happening.
It's probably broad daylight, right?
Yeah, it was as well. It was.
That's the worst part. It's the worst part when it happens through the day, right?
Yeah,
like,
I don't know why. I don't know why. You sort of feel like you'd be like, oh, okay, right, I'm just gonna go somewhere else. But no, it sort of lives with you, and you're like, oh,
stays with you, right?
Yeah, it's like, at least if it was night, when it's day next time, I'll be like, I'm safe now. Nope.
But these guys are fucking with me today. I think this is another story that I have, but it's not from me, it's from my uncle. He used to like to buy wood figures from like markets in South Africa.
Okay.
And my grandma, being the ultra religious person she was, always told him not to do that because she believed that some of these items have been cursed by bad juju. By to get back at the white man.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's what about it? Whew.
Okay.
But my uncle didn't believe her. He's like, yeah, whatever, mom. He just bought the figures and like put them in his living room. And as most South Africans, they have a shotgun or a weapon or something close by, just because
the white man. Yeah,
to protect the white man. And he said to me that he was that house that he moved in with his friend. A lot of weird shit would happen. Like one day, he would just be sitting they were sitting outside, on the balcony area, and then drinking beers, and all the lights went off everywhere, only in their block. Like there's like the little small area went off, and they would hear like noise on the asphalt, like a tapping noise on the asphalt right in front of them, like a few meters away from them. So they're like, "Oh, something's there," and the lights would come back on. There's nothing there, and he's like, "Whoa, too much drinking.
Yeah, well,
like if you're like the thing is, like he said, like, okay, if I was drunk and I heard it only, that would be understandable. Oh, I'm just totally wasted. But my roommate also heard it, so what it was combined drunkenness, something like. And then he said, like, so he kind of like whittled it down. Like it started to happen after he bought these wood figures from one market. And then he said, like, the worst thing happened to him. It was a hot summer's day. He was sitting on the couch watching TV, and the wood figures were like on the side close to the window frame. And he would hear like a noise, like something scraping on the wood floor. Okay. And he's like, looks around, nothing here. My roommate's at work, so no one's here. He just ignores it, turns on TV again, watches TV, and he kept hearing this noise. And then he realized the wood figure was coming closer and closer to him.
Oh, no. And
like every time he looks away, it got closer. And he just took a shotgun and shot it.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll get rid of it.
And the reason why he said that one was particularly fucked up because that figure was from a Tsotsi. A Tsotsi is like I don't think it's so called a Tsotsi. But in South African culture, there's there's a little monster people can summon by taking your hair and other personal belongings and then casting a spell on it, on like a little juju stuff. And it's this little small figure, like yay high, like a child's height, covered in long black hair from head to toe, and he'll come into your house to kill you.
Okay.
And if you're sleeping on a bed that's on the floor, you're dead. If you're sleeping on a bed that's raised above the floor, you're safe.
Oh, just get a raised bed then.
Raised
we're all
bed,
good,
right? And he's like, he bought a figure of that thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's called. I don't know. It's not Tsotsi. Tsotsi something else. He's like, that was one of the most creepiest things that happened to him. And he's like, that thing he shot. And he's like, my grandmother went there to visit him the next day. She's like, why is there a giant fucking bullet hole in the floor?
Why have you blown a hole inside the house? God's sake.
Like, don't ask questions. I think when my uncle also one time, my grandmother also had a really bad experience with paranormal. She told me when she was younger, there was in her bedroom, they used to have this big closet, like a huge grandpa closet, like a huge thing, old thing, been in the family for many generations, family kind of thing, right? And when they get punished, they would be put into the room and they close the door and the window so it's pitch black in there.
Okay.
To punish the kids for being naughty. Which is better than spanking because South Africans do that a lot. Beat the shit out of their kids.
Well, there's a difference between spanking them and beating the shit out of them. But yeah, okay.
Well, experiences. So my grandma said she was put into the. Oh, sorry, not my grandma. It's my mother. My mother. Fuck, I'm an idiot. It's my mother it happened to. My mother said she was with her brother, the uncle that had shot the thing. They were punished. They were put into the room, and my mother was sitting on the bed, like waiting for the time to pass by, and my uncle just fell off the bed and slipped underneath the closet. Like something was dragging him in underneath.
Oh no, that's like paranormal activity, and that's terrifying.
And my mom said she freaked out, grabbed and like, pulled him on the arms to pull him out, and she couldn't. Like something was like, pulling him back the whole time, and she was screaming so loud. My grandmother came into the room and she's like, "What the fuck are you kids doing?" She's like, "Help me!" And she's like, the uncle just like crawled down, like bleak from head to toe.
Jeez, now that's terrifying.
Also, according to my mom, when I was a kid, I would just randomly start laughing in the middle of the night.
Now, kids they're lovely, lovely things. But sometimes they're creepy. Like, I always said, if, like, my kids, when I was younger, before I had kids, I was like, if they have an imaginary friend, I'm out. Because I'm immediately like, that's a demon, and we don't like that, so we're not having imaginary friends, because that's weird. But they can do the creepiest things.
Shit, right? So my mom said that
funny as hell, though.
funny. But according to my mom, it wasn't funny because in that house we lived was a weird house. It was like a O-shaped house. All the rooms were like centered around one pantry in the middle. So the pantry in the middle had like windows to all rooms around, so you could look into from all directions into the pantry.
Weird
and it was like
layout.
It's a weird layout, right?
Yeah.
And the windows were like this this church house tinted colored
like
stained glasses.
Yeah.
So you couldn't see through, but you could see someone standing inside there.
Yeah, you sort of get like the figure.
My mom would say she would walk past that room and look at the window and see a figure in there.
Oh.
And she opens the door and there's no one there.
No.
And she's like, I was like 3 years old, 2 years old, and I'm just being in the bed and I'm like, like I'm playing with somebody's tickling me or something like that.
See?
And my mom was like, what are you doing? And I'm sleeping.
And you're like, I'm playing with my friend Tom. And she's like, no, you don't do that. Oh my God.
Oh, why I don't like turkeys.
Oh yeah, go on.
Like,
sorry.
No,
do the turkeys because we'll forget otherwise. It's very important to my life because, dude, I'm not kidding. My dad is a turkey farmer.
Okay.
He's been doing it since I was a kid, been around turkeys my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
My job now that I've been busy doing, I work on a turkey farm. So I love the turkeys.
Turkeys are fucking bastards.
I don't love them, actually. I agree with you. They're assholes, but I work around turkeys.
Where we used to live in South Africa, we live in a town called Bethlehem. And there was this camp area you could like it was like a holiday resort, and some of the holiday resorts homes you could rent out as houses,
right?
Because bad performance, and so a lot of people lived there, just permanently lived on those houses. Really cheap, nice area. It was really nice living on a holiday resort. They had like a water park and a arcade. It was really cool. There's also a lot of traumatized there.
Oh god.
They had a bunch of animals on this area, like a little farm area. They had horses, they had chickens, they had one turkey, and like other animals, like just a bunch of animals. And because it was a gated area, they would leave the animals open, so the animals are just walking around. So like you'll be walking around, there'll be a fucking horse right next to you. Like, there's a horse.
Hi horse, how you doing?
My mom would I don't know if you had this in UK, but you had those doors where you can open the bottom part or the top part separately.
Yeah, like a stable
door, right? So our house, we always left the top door open because it was so hot. The horse would poke its head through. Like, good morning.
That's so
or she'd
cool.
give the horse some like vegetables and stuff like that. And it was called him gummies because he had no more teeth. He was old.
Oh.
But there was a turkey. This turkey fucking hated me and my brother. I remember
they're
like my
horrible.
mom.
They are horrible.
My mom bought me a skateboard, and she's like, "Oh, go out and play." And I was like on the skateboard, and of course I couldn't like stand on it as a kid. I was like laying down and pushing it.
Yeah.
And I just like look up and I see this fucking thing, and it's like, it's like full on charges me, and I'm like running, screaming bloody murder. And on this one stretch of road leading up to my house was turkey territory. So if you had to go home, you had to fucking book it because the turkey's gonna chase you. That was the most terrifying thing.
This is the turkey's turf, mate. He's gonna get you. Well, look, it's probably one dickhead turkey. I work on my farm. I call it my farm because I'm the only one that works there at the minute. It's like one big barn that I have to look after, and there's like 3,000 turkeys in it. And like I go in there and I'm like, I even like stroke them. I'm just like chilling with them. I'm like, you're all right, turkey. And then sometimes, I'm busy working in there or whatever, and they start pecking my legs because they're just like, what's going on? And they're curious. But yeah, no, they are arseholes, but it's funny to take people to the farm and go, oh, you seeing that? And they're like, I'm not going in there. And you're like, oh, come on, it's fine.
Turkeys are fucking aggressive assholes, man.
Yeah, they can be.
That's why their meat's so dry, because it's so fucking dry, tied up assholes.
They're also very stupid. They will attack each other a lot, and you're like, you're so dumb, guys. Jesus Christ. I was going to say something before turkeys, wasn't I? What were we talking about? I know what it was. Right.
Oh.
So, have you ever... I mean, you seem to have experienced / your family has experienced a lot of like supernatural spooky stuff.
Yeah.
And like with like your relatives being like a bit
religious.
I wasn't going to say religious. But yes, that sort of, they believe in these curses and stuff. Have you ever done a Ouija board?
I found one.
Or would you ever do a Ouija board? Because I know some people that say they don't believe in ghosts and spirits and stuff, but they go, no, I won't do that. Just in case. Because there might be a demon.
So that just in case I don't fuck with it. It's like, dude, I'm not going to put a gun in my mouth. Why? I'm not going to shoot myself, but I'm not going to do that.
I've done a Ouija board loads of times. I bloody love it. If anything, when we moved to my new house, when we bought the house, I was like, first thing we're going to do, I'm going to do a Ouija board to see if there's a ghost in there. That's like what I did. I was like, we're going to do that because it's fun. I don't believe it's actually anything supernatural. I think it's that whole subconscious of pushing it.
Yeah, your body pushing it, yeah.
Because it doesn't really make any sense half the time.
I think I've never done a seance, but I did fuck with one of my friends. A few of my friends. So because like there's two stories. One is really fucking scary, and the one is like fucking hilarious. So let's start with the funny one first. I had like two girlfriends, not female, like female friends.
Okay, I thought you were just like a player at the minute. I had two girlfriends once, mate. Two.
This Madonna. Anyway, so I was like, oh, we want to do like a seance, like ghost type thing. We want to see if we can conjure up a ghost because she found something online where she could read out loud in Spanish.
Okay.
I said, okay, my basement gets really dark. I'm not going to murder them. I'm not murdering them. So I went into the basement, and this house is like 100 years old. In Switzerland, they don't destroy the old houses. They just renovate them. Keep them up. Same as in the UK.
Yeah.
And we went to the basement. We sat down, and they turned off the lights. And I was like, I am bored as shit. I'm going to fuck with these girls right now.
Okay.
She started reading out the things, and I'm like, and I just spoke in like tongues, and I just made weird noises, and I jumped up with my chest like that, and they of course it's dark, so they're just freaking out, and then and she's like, how do I stop this? And she's like, start reading out something else that stops itself, and I'm like, I was like, what happened? Like just playing along with it, and she's like, oh my god, you're possessed with the ghost. I'm like, don't ever do that again, please.
That'd be pretty scary though.
That was for them. It was scary. For me, it was funny as hell, and I had to
for you,
laugh.
I'm like, I had a great time.
There's 2 times where I had experiences with paranormal activities, paranormal items.
Okay.
Like really weird items. One is we moved into a house that was abandoned overnight.
Right. Okay.
So the family just booked it. They packed. They didn't even pack their things. Like when we moved into the apartment, the house owner was like, "You can move in early, and get like rent cheaper for a few more months if you just move in now and take out all the stuff from the previous owner." So when you got in the house, the windows have been closed, the doors have been closed. You see flies, dead, like thousands of dead flies on the floor because their food was still on the table for their breakfast.
Very odd, and there was no explanation, I guess, for why.
No, they didn't. Like we found out, the guy had like huge amount of debts.
Yeah, it was probably going to be that
insane amount of debts. Like all his bills, like birth certificates, everything was in the house office. And in the base, in the attic, in one of the small rooms, like they had little small corner attics in the house. There was a Ouija board on the floor.
Oh, cool! Oh, that sounds like a horror movie, doesn't it? Oh, we found a Ouija board.
My brother was like, "Fuck this house! Fuck this house!" Especially our neighbor in that house was weird. She never came out. When you drove up at night with the car to come back home, you would just see her looking like a little slit through the window.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that as well. It's like she was standing at the window. Yeah.
Everyone's like, but I was like, fucking weird people. The second weird thing is, I went to a dumpster yard, like a dump yard, like where you throw all the shit at, like, I don't know what you call it anymore.
Landfill.
Landfill, there we go. And we were just looking for cool shit to use so we can break other stuff with it, right? And I found this big velvet, like a velvety book. And I was like, ooh, what book is this? This looks cool. And I opened it, and it was a photo album.
Okay.
And it was a photo album from pictures from like the 1900s, like really long time ago.
Oh, weird.
And I couldn't read German back then because I was still like, young little Rapskilian learning the German, so I didn't understand this. I just took the book home, and I never really recognized. I was like, why are these people's faces so weird in the pictures?
Okay.
And there's a bunch of pictures of like kids, like babies in prams with their eyes closed, and everyone's eyes are closed. And I realized later that those photos are of dead people. So what they used to do is they posed the dead people in poses and clothes and take photos with them and like as they're still alive. It was a trend back in the day.
I have heard of that. And the thing is, back then, taking a photo isn't like instant like it is now. No, you would have to I'm just going to sit here with dead grandma for like 10 minutes while the photo develops.
Exactly.
Weird.
And you like a bunch of like firefighters all sitting down, kids, babies. Weird. And then, like my mom said, after I brought that book into the house, weird shit started happening. Like my brother said,
so weird.
He heard like knocking noises, and he saw someone run through the hallway back and forth. I saw a black figure in my doorway again. My dad also heard shit. Like my dad's like also heard like noises of people calling his name, but there was no one there.
Oh, I've had that. Yeah.
And my mom was like, "Get rid of that fucking book.
Get rid of it." I wish you still had that book. That book.
I wish I had it too.
It's fucking weird as shit.
But the question is, why did someone throw that away? That seems like such a weird thing to throw away, like a family heirloom.
Yeah, because they must have it for, well, maybe they're just like us and we're going, oh, that'd be cool to have. Maybe they were just like, oh, I found this really cool dead person book. And they just kept it.
No, my mom was just like, why would someone throw away a family album of that age? Like, the pictures were so pristine quality. And like,
I like the way your mum's questioning why somebody threw it away, but then she's also going, fucking throw that thing away.
No, when I found it first, I showed her. She's like, oh, that's so interesting.
And then she went, I understand why they threw it away.
Fucking throw the thing away. She's like, she's like, the next day, she's like praying through the whole house with the Bible. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, I fucked up.
You're like, I bloody infested the house with spookies. God damn it. Yeah. I don't know whether see, here's the thing, right? I'm not religious.
Yeah.
But then it always crosses my mind that I'm like, but if I believe in ghosts and spirits, then surely there has to be some sort of religious element to them.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of in a weird... This is why I'm like, I believe in them. I like the idea of them. But I'm also a very logical person. So if something falls off a shelf, I'm going to go, hang on, there's a breeze or something. Like, I'm going to go through all the things that make sense
logical
before
steps,
I go, nope, I don't know why that did that. Yeah.
There's a Scooby-Doo time.
The religious stuff, I remember actually when I was... Oh, when I wasn't that young. I was probably late teens.
Mm-hmm.
I was, again, with my mum, because my mum's, I guess, into the same shit as me. She's so there was a spiritualist church in the town near me. So it's more into spirits and ghosts and mediums and stuff than talking about God and Jesus and all that stuff. So I was like, oh, that sounds kind of interesting. And I think my mum was explaining it to me and she was like, oh yeah, sometimes they have like a medium and they'll just like pick people out and have, oh, I'm getting an old man. And they do that. And I was like, oh shit, we have to go to that. We have to go. And I was like, I think my grandma had died a few years before then. And I'm like, I will believe 100% if that person will be like, your grandma, blah, 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 and like, it makes sense to me. And we went to it and we like sat there and unfortunately, nothing came to us, apparently, because it just didn't. Which is sort of like, again, it goes back to the thing like mediums are kind of bullshit.
Because it's all cold reading.
The people they would go to are like regulars that would go there and they'd be like, oh, I see. Oh, you've had a check come, I think. And it's like, well, yeah, I think you just know them, basically. This isn't... Do you know what I mean? That's why I thought if I go, having never been to this church, and they go, hey, your grandma says, when you used to do that thing in her house, I'd be like, oh my God, how does she know that? But none of that stuff happened. So we never went again, but it was interesting to sort of see, I guess.
I think that with the advent of like technology and science and logical thinking becoming more of a standard and more of a common thing, I think we should always be agnostic. I think that's a term. Agnostic, like, fuck, I keep forgetting his name. The British guy that does the Oscars.
Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais. You should write on your wall behind you, just write on that whiteboard. I see it. Just write Ricky Gervais in the corner. Next time you go, that British guy, I'll go, yeah, there it is. Yeah, Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais is like, I don't believe in God.
Yeah.
I want him to make me believe.
Like, you're not supposed to do that. Isn't that like part of the thing? Like, you're just supposed to have faith. You're not supposed to like test him because that's naughty.
Yeah, but like, it's like also like it makes sense. Like back in the old days, he was fucking burning cities alive. He was doing shit. He was telling dads to kill their sons. Yeah. And then like last minute, like, it's a joke, my dude. Flooding the earth. And nowadays he's just like,
yeah, he doesn't really do much, does he? Yeah.
And it's just
I agree with him though. I agree. Like, back in the day when all these weird things that like ended up into these Bible stories and whatever, we have a lot more explanations of things that were like magical miracles. And we go, no. What probably happened there is this. But at the time, they didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Whereas now, it makes more sense.
Also, it's also...
Open-mindedness is important.
Look, I would very much love to be proven wrong.
Yeah, I'd find it scary, to be honest. I think if there was some sort of proof that there was some sort of like God and afterlife and stuff, I'd be like, oh shit. Because then I'd think everything I did, I'm like, oh, I've not that I'm going around going, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll just kick this baby. I'm going, but you'd go around thinking I have to be just the most perfect.
And Rick and Morty did the best when the show me what you got guys came to the Earth.
Show me what you got.
Yeah. Everyone became super religious and super down the line, but when they turned out it was just some aliens, everyone was just like, oh, back to normal.
Yeah. It could be aliens. It could be. Maybe we were all created by aliens.
Stephen Fry also said it, like he was an intimate. He's like, and so the guy asked him, like, what if there is God? What if you meet God? And Stephen Fry would be like, I would tell him, what's your problem?
Why, dude?
Why would you make an animal, an insect, whose whole purpose is to crawl and infest children's eyes?
Yeah.
And something like that. Like, you are a horrible, terrible,
dude, what the
unloving
fuck, man?
God. Like, for what reason is that?
You're a bit of an asshole, really. I mean, see, people say that all the time. They're like, but if there's a God, why is there war? And you're like, well, supposedly the idea is that we have free will, so he doesn't control everything. We get to decide. But when it comes to, you're right, there's a fucking insect that his entire life, its purpose is to fucking infest the brain of another insect and take it over or whatever. You're like, okay, hang on, why have you done that? That's weird. Are you just fucking around? You've done everything. You've gone, what else can I fucking make? Oh, I guess I'll do the weird eye bug thing. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of stuff that I would like, say with aliens, everything out there, like, we don't have any proof of alien life, but I would love to meet aliens. I'd love to see that there is an alien form out there. I want to see if there is a God. I would like to see that there is a God. All these things. I am not against being proved wrong, but when someone comes up to me, is like, takes me outside to the sunrise, it's like, look at the sunrise. There's all the proof you need.
Yeah.
I'm gonna punch you, bitch.
And you're like, well, I mean, apart from the whole planets and the Big Bang
spinning,
and the fucking sun is just a big ball of fucking fire and like nuclear whatever. Yeah. Apart from all that, it's probably a god. You're right. That's how I think. I think we think very. I'm not against anybody's religion, by the way. Like, you do what you want, you believe what you want. Makes no difference to my life. I believe in ghosts. You can think I'm a weirdo. It's fine.
Yeah. As long as you don't hurt anybody. Your religion is your religion. As long as you don't force it upon other people or hurt other people with it.
Yeah.
That's all about it.
Or Scientology, because sure that's bullshit. Yeah. The only religion I dislike, Scientology, because it sounds crazy.
I blew my pastor's mind one day. Like, I said to him, like, I think I know where the entrance to heaven is.
Jesus Christ.
He's like, what? Where? I said, the sun.
And he went, oh, you're an idiot. Oh, it's a shame.
He's like, why did you say the sun? Because, like, oh, well, it's always there to keep us and give us life and keep us, warm when we need it the most. When the sun is away, we will die in this parish. And it is something that we cannot enter. There is no physical way that we can enter the sun, the surface of the sun.
Well, you can try.
You can try, but you will die. Like, so there's
you'll
no
die
way
before you get there.
There's no way to enter this core or into the surface of the sun. So once you get into the sun's surface, you will pass through a blinding light. As everyone says, when you die, you see a bright light.
Yeah.
Sun,
big light, got
big
it.
light, fucking the biggest, brightest light out there.
Yeah.
You go through it, you go into in your heaven, and the sun is the entrance to heaven. That's how it works, boys.
Done. You nailed it. Pope. Religion done. What's hell then? If that's heaven, right? Is that heaven or is that just the afterlife?
I think hell is a different dimension.
Okay.
It is
I'll accept that. Yeah.
Because I do believe in the multiverse concept.
Yeah, I mean the whole, every possible thing has happened and will happen in a different dimension.
Yeah.
So every choice you make, the opposite choice is made somewhere else and it diverges. Maybe, I mean, I don't understand why that can't
not happen.
I guess.
I believe, I've always said this, and I've always used this in a very motivational way. Like, if you say the right things, the right words, you can achieve anything. Like, literally, Colesy, if you were to say the right the right like line or succession or right order of words, you could become the president of the United States.
It'd be a complicated sentence. I agree.
Literally the most complex thing you could ever do. Like
I'd have to persuade them I'm American. I think first that would be.
The thing is, because like, why I say this is when people say that that's impossible. Like, there's a guy from Austria that went to Germany and proved and convinced the whole country of Germany that the Germans are the superior people.
Maybe
from a foreign country came to your country to prove everyone and convince everyone that they are the superior people and that they are actually descendants from fucking Atlanta.
Okay, but maybe we shouldn't use Mr. Adolf as like a good pointer. Like, hey, I mean, you might think it's not possible. Adolf did it, and you're like, oh, maybe let's not do what he did. Let's just calm it down.
I'm not saying you should go out and do that, but I'm just saying, like,
I could, is what you're saying.
You could, but you could basically whatever you want to achieve, you couldn't actually achieve because it's theoretically possible. Theoretically, anything could happen. It's at any point in time, and anything could happen. Literally, the most craziest thing you could think could happen. My shop that I used to work at, I told my friend one day in the madness of the universe, it's gonna be sex toys on our shop, and he's like, "There's not gonna be sex toys on our online shop because that doesn't fit with the whole company's ethos." 4 months later, bam! I'm like,
boom! I nailed it. That's right. I proved everything
genius.
Because there's dildos on store shelves. Nice. I get what you're saying. Theoretically, things are possible that you can do, and there's no reason. And, you know, the world is crazy, and there's so much that we do not understand. So very, very, very much that we don't understand.
Exactly.
So we're always stuck in that weird middle area.
We're very much in the middle, and the thing is, we'll never know. And you guys will also never know. But
it's fun to look, though, isn't it?
It's fun to look. But you also will never know what happens in episode number 14. Because it is time.
Well, I mean, probably. I mean, you will know. Just, you know, next time. Don't make it sound like we're stopping. You'll never know because we're not doing any more episodes. Fuck you guys.
13. This is the pinnacle. Friday. We've outlived trust. Live trust.
Oh, Liz Truss. Yeah. No, we fucked her up, mate. Well, not physically. I mean, we didn't. We had nothing to do with that. Just to clarify, it wasn't it?
That's a true horror story. The British political system.
Oh yeah, I only have to live it. It's fine. Anyway, yes. End of 13. Thank you everyone for coming by. I would like to put a question to everybody. Not that anybody will probably answer, but if you do, I'd like to hear everybody else's spooky stories. I love a spooky story. I'd love everyone else's, experiences. It's really cool.
Love you with a bit of pie. Take care of yourselves. And also, check the description below for all our socials. My YouTube channel where I stream live every Friday and Saturday from 8:30 p.m. to 12 p.m. UK BST, not BTS. Colesy does lots of videos and sometimes streams.
I do those things. Sorry, I'm playing with my pumpkin ears. But yeah, you should check me out in all those places too. And I do TikToks and stuff too sometimes because that's the world we live in. Yes. Thank you, everybody. And we'll catch you next time.
Bye.